Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. You are in my kitchen. I'm on location in my kitchen, and as I'm standing here shooting this, I'm realizing this is my first time ever shooting a vlog in my kitchen, which I think has significance. Like, I've been shooting vlogs every week for over 3 years and never ever have I shot one on location in my kitchen, which is bizarre, right? Because we're all about food here at Brightline Eating. But are we? Right? Like, actually, we're not. We're about the neuroscience, we're about the psychology, we're about the inner journey, we're about living happy, thin, and free, which, believe it or not, is not usually about food. It's usually about the other stuff. But today, I wanted to talk to you about food, so we're in my kitchen. All right, so all that preamble aside, I want to talk to you about a phrase that you've probably not dissected very deeply, and I want to invite you to think about it now. The phrase is weighing and measuring our food. Weighing and measuring our food. So weighing our food is super clear, like digital food scale. At the end of the night, I put it away down here. This is just a big open spot down here below my island. During the day, I tend to keep this on the island. You know, if I have to weigh 3 meals, I keep it out there. So weighing is super clear, but what about that word measuring? So this vlog is about measuring our food, okay? So weighing and measuring our food. I want to start off with Exhibit A here. This right here is a 5-ounce apple, and this right here is a 10-ounce apple. So if we're weighing fruit, we weigh 6 ounces. But we're often invited to measure our fruit, and the count would be 1. 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 pear, 1 orange. And it doesn't really matter if it's a big apple or a small apple. Now, if it's a tiny microscopic apple, you might want to have 2 of them. Like if it's an apple the size of a plum or an apricot, you might want to have 2 of them. But, you know, that's if you're like picking apples off a friend's tree or something and they're microscopic. In general, you don't worry about the size of your apples. You have 1 apple. Now, there are other instances, as I was thinking about this vlog, I was thinking there's other instances of me measuring my food instead of weighing it. So here's an example. Now, I don't eat string cheese anymore. I don't eat cow's milk because it affects my digestive system in ways I don't love. And I don't think it's that healthy. But this is string cheese. Now, this is organic string cheese. I got this for my kids. I don't even know if they're going to eat it, to be honest. I got it for the purposes of this vlog because back in the day when I used to eat string cheese, I was aware it says serving size 1 stick, 28 grams. That's exactly 1 ounce. So these string cheese sticks are 1 ounce. And even some of them, not the organic ones, but some of them actually say on the back, serving size 1 stick, 1 ounce. It's like it's 1 ounce, right? So 2 of those would be a protein serving, 3 if you're a guy. Here's another count, another product where I measure the count as opposed to weighing it out. So this is hummus, and I started eating this more recently. I didn't eat this when I was in my 12-step food addiction program, but now since I do Brightline Eating, hummus is one of those foods that we eat, and these are 2-ounce containers. Like if you look at the ingredients here, it says serving size 1 container, 2 ounces. So 2 of these is a protein serving, 3 if you're a guy. And that's super easy. Now I eat these for lunch. If I'm on the go, this is what I eat for lunch. If I'm not eating out for lunch, like eating on the run, and I'm eating home, these will go bad in my fridge because I don't actually prefer hummus. I don't know why, I just don't. But it's handy and convenient. So if I'm about to grab lunch and go somewhere, I will grab 2 of these as my protein serving, throw a bunch of baby carrots in a plastic bag to 6 ounces, and I'm good to go. So what made me think of shooting this vlog was actually this product right here. This is not a product that I typically eat in Brightline Eating because it's soup, and I don't personally typically eat soup. There's nothing wrong with soup. I don't personally typically eat it, but this is Amy's Organic Soups Chunky Vegetable Low Fat, okay? Now, let me read you the ingredients. Ingredients, parentheses, vegan. Filtered water, organic diced tomatoes, organic spinach, organic carrots, organic green beans, organic corn, organic peas, organic onions, organic celery, sea salt, organic black pepper. The only thing that's not organic in here is the sea salt and the filtered water. And everything else is a vegetable. Now, I recently got Invisalign braces, and for 2 or 3 or 4 days, my teeth were wrecked. And the inside of my mouth was all chewed up, and my teeth were tender. And I just, I just needed to eat soft food. And I remembered this product, and this is what I ate for my dinner instead of salad. Instead of 14 ounces of raw, crunchy, hard on the teeth vegetables, like lettuce and whatever, I had a can of this. Now, 1 cup is 245 grams, servings per container about 2, calories 80. So there's 160 calories in this can, approximately 160 calories of cooked vegetables with some water, right? So what I realized is that's about, in terms of food energy, that's about what I needed for vegetables for my dinner, but I wasn't gonna weigh it, I was gonna measure it. 1 can would be all the vegetables that I would need for dinner. And so that's what I did for like 3 or 4 days. It might have even been longer. I think I got like an infection in my mouth, and it might have been like a week and a half that I was doing a can of this every night for my vegetables instead of a big salad. So 1 can. So I want to pause here for a second and just say that after that experience, I thought back on a bunch of foods that I typically weigh, and I realized that the saner, freer choice would be to measure them instead. Now, I'm looking at this from a perspective of what's the point of weighing and measuring your food? So some of it is actually on the macro scale of what we're trying to do here at Bright Line Eating, which is to get happy, thin, and free. And some of that means taking off weight. And the reality is that your brain, if you're not putting your food on a scale or finding a way to bound your quantities, your brain is going to fight you and try to keep you at the higher weight. Like basically when you were gaining weight, your brain was gradually raising your body fat set point that it tends to defend. And then when you started to lose weight, your body basically decided that you were now approaching being shockingly underweight. Even if you still had a ton of weight to lose, your body doesn't care. It set your set point up here. Now you're losing weight down to here. It's going to try to force you to gain back that weight. And one of the ways to win that war is to put your food on the scale and not allow your brain to trick you about how much food you're eating. That's one of the ways to win that war, okay? That's on the macro scale. Another important thing is if you don't weigh your food, you will not eat enough vegetables, and you will eat too much of the other stuff. Too much fruit, too much fat, too much protein, too much of the other stuff. The other stuff has higher reward value, okay? The vegetables have lower reward value, and you wanna make sure you're eating enough vegetables. So that's another reason to put your food on the scale. But another reason that we put our food on the scale is just to give us peace, so that we can't ever fall prey to the saboteur trying to convince us that we haven't eaten enough food. Like we know it's been enough food. We've eaten exactly the right amount of food, the same amount that we ate yesterday and the day before and the day before. So if the saboteur tries to come in and say, hey, you really should get some more, it's very easy, it's much easier to like brush that voice off your shoulder and say, yeah, no, thank you, Sabby. I've had exactly the right amount of food, okay? So really, the weighing and measuring food ultimately is about giving us peace. So with that in mind, I started to think about this product here. Now these are sunshine burgers. They're made out of mostly brown rice and raw sunflower seeds, and they're a veggie burger, and they're a 1/4 pound. These are the original 1/4 pound ones, and I've eaten these products for years, this product for years. And I know that if I cook this up on the stovetop, it will cook out to about 3 7/8 ounces for 1 patty. Whereas if I wrap a paper towel, a wet paper towel around one of the patties and stick it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever the instructions say, I forget, it'll cook down to 4 1/8 ounce approximately. Every now and then one will be exactly 4 ounces. So what I'm trying to say here is cooking up 1 patty is enough to make you crazy unless you're using a measurement instead of a weight. Like it's relatively trivial to flick off a corner of the burger if it says 4 1/8 and get it down to 4.0, which I have done religiously for years with these little things. But it's not trivial at all to cook up one of them and then end up with 3 7/8. Do you see? Not trivial at all, right? So the saner option with these guys, assuming you're familiar with the product, is to say, I'm gonna have one sunshine burger. That's my protein serving. I get 4 ounces, the thing's just about 4 ounces. And then what is important to do is to not actually weigh it. You cook the one burger, you don't weigh it, because you don't wanna know if it's 3 1/8 or 3 7/8 or 4 1/8, like it's irrelevant at that point. Your count, just like this, 1 apple, your count is 1 burger. You got it? And then I realized, well, what am I doing every frickin' morning? This is 6 ounces of blueberries. This is 6 ounces of raspberries. A dry pint, 6 ounces and 6 ounces. Net weight, 6.0 ounces. Next, net weight, 6.0 ounces. I had been in the habit for years and years and years of washing these and then drying them off because I didn't want to weigh the water, and then carefully weighing these and taking out maybe 2 or 3 blueberries, or if it were like a little bit of an old packet and I'd already taken out 2 or 3 or 4 kind of wrinkly, squishy ones, then like pulling 1 raspberry from another packet or 2 blueberries from another packet to equal 6 ounces. You get my point, right? It's a little bit over or a little bit under. Just a little while ago, I started committing, when I write down my food, 1 packet of raspberries. Simple. It's a count. It's a measurement. It's not a weight. You got it? So these products here are pretty easy. I want to move on to some more sophisticated ones. I actually realized that I should be having 1 packet of this and 1 packet of this as well, for the following reasons. So this is tempeh, and it's called Fake and Bacon Smoky Tempeh Strips. Really, it's just tempeh marinated in like soy sauce and cider vinegar and some other stuff. And there is some sweetener in here, but it's low enough on the list that it's not bothersome, and I've tasted them. They're not sweet enough to trigger me at all. I cook these up in a pan. It says net weight 6 ounces on here, but when I cook them up in a pan, they come out to about 4 3/4 ounces-ish, maybe 4 1/2, maybe 4 7/8, somewhere, maybe 4 3/8, somewhere in there, 4 point something. So what I've been doing for years and years and years, I've been using this product for a long time, is I've been weighing out 4 ounces for me to eat, and then taking maybe 1 1/4 strips. See, there's like, how many slices are this? There's about, whatever, there's about like 9 slices in here or whatever. So I would take maybe 1 1/4 slices, and I would put them in a little container in the fridge. And then I would almost never, ever use those leftovers. Like they would get thrown away at some point. And so what I realized as I was thinking about shooting this vlog is, why aren't I eating this whole package? Like there's nothing in my body that would say, oh, that extra 3/4 of an ounce of tempeh is too much food. That's preposterous. It's fine. And it's simpler, especially since I almost always have these for lunch and I'm alone, so I can't argue like, well, maybe someone in my family will eat them, or nobody else in my family eats tempeh with me at lunch. I'm alone in the house. So I realized this is another product that it makes more sense for me to measure rather than weigh. Okay, does that make sense? Now, I just want to pause here and say, be careful. I want to say that I have someone that I commit my food to. Yeah, still, I have someone that I commit my food to. And I have run all of this by her. And what she said is, Susan, I know you have a very strong saboteur. I don't hear your self-will getting involved in here anywhere. It sounds fine to me, but just watch it. See if it starts to escalate. So she said, for example, if you start to want to reach for the package of blueberries that's actually a massive box and say, well, I get 1 packet of blueberries, all right, then you know that it's actually your saboteur trying to weasel its way in there. I'm like, yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. It's really, I could feel it in myself. It's a clean decision. I'm doing this to simplify my life. But you always have to be sort of on the lookout for your saboteur getting in any particular way. So the last thing I want to talk about is this tub of super greens. I like to cook these up in coconut oil, and I get 1/2 ounce of coconut oil. Coconut oil is a solid at room temperature, and so I measure out 1/2 ounce into the frying pan. I put the frying pan on the stove and I cook it gently because lower heats are better for sauteing greens and stuff. It preserves more of the nutrients. And I saute these greens, but the problem is then I've used my whole fat serving, and you see the problem? Now, if I've used my whole fat serving for the meal, that better be my whole vegetable serving, but we weigh our food after we've cooked it. So there's no way to know in advance how much greens exactly is going to total 6 ounces. So what I've realized is this container is going to be my measurement. As opposed to weighing it, I'm going to measure it so that I can cook it with my coconut oil fat all at once, and then everything there is my food, and I put it on the plate. Now, this comes out to more vegetables than 6 ounces, but I've decided I'm cool with that because it's kale, spinach, and chard, right? Now, I would never, if I had a cooked batch of kale, spinach, and chard, I would never have anything different than 6.0 ounces. Again, because the point is freedom. It's not really ever about, well, my body prefers 6 ounces over 6.5 ounces. It's that my brain, that is sneaky, prefers 6 ounces over 6.5 ounces. So in this case, I can keep my brain at peace and eat this whole container, and that ends up being fine for me. But again, I've run this by the person I commit my food to. I've externalized the commitment. This is something we talk about in the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp, is externalizing your food commitments so you're not the one making the final call. Your head is a bad neighborhood. Don't go there alone. So I always bring someone in with me when it comes to food and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Am I crazy or am I sane? She said, in this case, I'm sane. So, I told her I was going to shoot a vlog about it, and she said, good, shoot a vlog about it. Now, be careful. If it starts to escalate and you start to rationalize that all kinds of things are better measured instead of weighed, take a look, because this is, at the present time, this is it. This is the sum total of items, other than the different kinds of fruits, which always have been measured instead of weighed, like a banana, an orange, etc. Other than that, this is it. It's not like dribbling out into every area of my life. I still weigh just about all of my food. I weigh exactly 6 ounces of yogurt in the morning and then sprinkle ½ ounce of ground flaxseed on there precisely. I don't use a tablespoon measure because it's not precise enough. I use my scale, ½ ounce. So I'm still a big fan of precision, and with the digital food scale, that's what I like to do. But there are certain products where I feel like a measurement is better than a weight. And that's what the weekly vlog is about. So thank you for joining me in my kitchen. I can feel some light coming in here, sneaking through my diffuser and all this stuff. So I'm going to sign off. Wonderful to spend this time with you, and I'll see you next week.